Yo, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
We back,
family
we
and
back,
friends,
we back,
cousins, we are
we
back in
back,
the building.
and we back.
The Family
Family Tree
Tree
Podcast.
Podcast
Oh my
season.
God! First of all, why did that feel so good
It
saying
felt
it?
good.
Kane ain't said it in a long time.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
You know what I'm saying? You're looking good.
You're looking good.
I appreciate that. Locked up, shorty. Okay.
Like living. I can't wait to talk about that. But it's funny. Like we haven't seen each other.
It's been a minute. Been some months for real.
It has. I guess we ended season 1 in September.
Yeah.
And we kind of took a break. Just to kind of revamp things, to kind of sit with our ideas and rebrand and concentrate on where we want to go, but to give ourselves some grace too.
Okay.
I think a lot of people don't do that enough.
Hey, I agree.
What we do here, it doesn't feel like work. It feels good because it's so natural.
Yeah.
At the same time, we are some busy people.
Big facts.
And so while the break was much needed, I'm so happy to be back in the studio.
Yes, Lord.
The Family Tree, man.
Podcast.
So, man, look, shout out to all of our listeners, man. Like, over the last year, we have gained so many followers on social media.
Man.
In terms of our listenership, our subscribers. So, you know who you are. Those of you who've been rocking with us since May of last year.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Like, your engagement online, your listening, your participation, all of that has been so instrumental in the development of this thing that we have here. And I'm looking forward to seeing it grow for our new people. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
However you found us, we just happy you here and we hope you stick around. So as a reintroduction in this season to The Family Tree, Kane, I always tell the story about how it came about.
Okay.
Since you were the man who made the call, I'm going to give it to you, dog. How did we even get here, for those who don't know?
For those who don't know, Ashley and I met. This had to have been year 2018.
Yeah.
I was still living in Atlanta, Georgia at the time. Ashley FG was doing her thing in Jackson. And we have a mutual friend. Shout out to Tiffany. She was hosting a Black Film Fest in the city. And it was held at her alma mater as well as Ashley's alma mater, the Jackson State University. And what happened was I was a moderator on a panel. Ashley was featuring her film there, Fly in the Buttermilk.
Right.
And she was also on the panel that I was moderating. And I just thought, this is a dope young lady. I need to know her name. We did an introduction. We remained in contact. And it's like we always tried to figure out what are some things that we could work on.
Right.
And so during, the whole pandemic and whatnot, when it was fresh, I had this idea for a while, but then it finally hit me like, I think Ashley be the perfect person for this. So I came up with The Family Tree Podcast. It was going to be solo dolo. And I was like, nah, I need somebody. And then Ashley hit me. I'm like, maybe we've been trying to work together for the longest. Anyway, this would be perfect. I love how she shows love to her family. I love how she just loves on really everybody, her community, her family, her friends, the whole nine. Like, she's the perfect person. So I hit her. And Ashley was like, I don't know, Kane. You know what I'm saying? I'm not big on podcasts. I don't even listen to podcasts.
I know. That's so real.
And that broke my heart. I ain't gonna my heart dropped, no cap. Oh man, I was like, damn. I'm like, I don't know who I'm a, because I want a co-host, you know what I mean? And then when Ashley hit me back and was like, you know what, Kane? Let's do it. Let's go ahead. I want to try something new, step out of my comfort zone.
That part.
And here we are, a whole nother season later.
Yeah, and just like when we had that conversation, and I could be honest with you and say that I wasn't a podcast listener.
Mm-hmm.
What I knew about popular podcasts, I knew that there wasn't one like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that attracted me even more. And like you say, just having so much respect for the family unit and wanting to see so much more for our families, especially in our communities. It was an opportunity I couldn't pass. So, that's why we're here. We're here to start the conversations, to ask those thought-provoking questions centered around our people, our families, our communities, ourselves, and the roles that we play in our greater community. But The Family Tree Podcast is simply that. So again, man, thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for rocking with us for as long as you have. For our new folks, we welcome you
Yes,
to
Lord.
the family. What's up, cousin?
What's up, cousin?
What's up, cousin? Now here at the Family Tree Podcast, like we are so on love, knowledge, and truth, one family at a time.
Yep.
Like that's what we want to seek. That's what we want to get to. That's what we want to uncover. That's what we want to encourage. Love, knowledge, and truth in our families, because without those things, it's a mess.
It's a mess.
You know? I mean, that's for self.
Yeah.
Without love, knowledge, and truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's for our romantic relationships. It's for our
Talk heavy.
platonic relationships, for within our families. So we hope that for those of you who have been rocking with us, that we have had some impact. And we know about some of the impact. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure people have reached out to you, Kane, and
sure.
talked about, tell me some of the things, you know, that you heard throughout season 1 that you think it's something that you know stuck with you.
Yeah, something that stuck with me. Actually, one of the ones that one of the listeners that shout out to Cal, I believe is the brother's name.
Yeah,
That's one thing that stuck out
yeah.
to me when he said that what runs in your family doesn't necessarily have to stay in your family. Like that
Yeah.
stuck with me.
Yeah.
And I still utilize that phrase, that quote from that brother in some conversations that I have now.
Man.
You know.
What runs in your family. I remember when he said that was around, our conversations about, just like health in our family, because we know Black people are disproportionately affected by certain ailments and diseases that a lot of time are caused by either lack of physical activity,
Facts.
what we're eating at the table,
The plate.
So yes, you know what I mean. So I was happy to hear him say that. But even beyond, like what runs in your family, we think about just things that, like, okay, if you have a family or you have a history of family members who maybe have kids out of wedlock or who, have a certain level of education attainment and don't go on to pursue higher degrees. I know so many people in our generation that are saying that they want to change those things, what we call quote unquote family curses, things that whether there's secrecy in families or all these negative or dark looming issues. There's so many people who want to change that. In our generation, I really see that. It's a lot of pressure.
It is
a lot of people
pressure.
don't like that it's on them, right, to change the trajectory of their families. But I think a part of what we do here is to at least have a conversation to encourage and to support our people who are trying to make a difference.
That's a big word, key word that you just said is support.
Support.
Right? Because I was listening to a podcast earlier today, actually.
Yeah.
And it was I Am Athlete. And they had Al Harrington on there. And he was talking about his grandmother and how a lot of the previous generation, how a lot of them are dying out. And so with us sparking the conversation and showing that support for everybody that's listening, right? Like that kind of gives us the wherewithal to have enough strength and courage to move along and carrying the family. But what that brother was saying on I Am Athlete was that it'll never be the same because you got grandmas on Instagram now wearing see-through clothes.
Yes.
It's totally different. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like my grandmother, God bless those who rest, she was shucking peas at the kitchen table.
Definitely.
She was skinning and cleaning the deer on the kitchen table. Like we had kept the old newspapers, and I was like, why are we keeping all these newspapers? Then one day when I grew old enough to understand, we would take all the old newspapers and put it all on the kitchen table so that, the blood can catch from cleaning the deer and all that stuff. Like, and I'm a country boy, so, we seen all that. So, it's like, the grandmas now, the younger generation of grandmothers, there's not as much, like, cooking going on.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of, like, real conversations going on. There's not, excuse me. There's not a lot of like one household meetups happening. It's a lot of separate things going on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like even when my grandmother passed, like nobody really
things changed.
Yeah. Everybody's having their own thing and on their own time. The family dynamic has just kind of divided in a big way, and you can feel it.
That's real.
And
That's
it's
real.
like growing in knowledge, love, and truth. Like, it's kind of like you reached a cap, if you will. And then again, it's on us now to either mend it back together,
Right.
or when we find our significant others, we just create our own.
That part. That part. And so to piggyback off of just what you said, like finding our significant other, one of our most popular episodes last season was
Talk
about
about it.
when are you getting married?
that was spicy.
We love talking about relationships. I think because we all have relationships,
Big
right?
facts,
and
yeah.
it's such a spectrum, and it looks so different from individual to individual, situation to situation. But we all like to engage in conversation about relationships.
Big facts.
That was a really popular one. What was another one that either that was your favorite or that
Dang.
resonated with a lot of?
I appreciated when you get married.
Yeah.
I also appreciated very much the almighty black dollar.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Because you put me on game talking about how fast the black dollar circulates.
Yes.
That was a shocker to your boy.
Yes, and that was actually Black Business Month, or celebrating
Yeah.
National Black Business.
Back in August.
Right. So, even continuing that conversation, whether it's a business that begins in the family unit or that's created with you, but something that you want, your legacy, those who live beyond you, to continue to carry. I think it's so important to talk about how we keep money in our community.
Big facts.
Because we have certain issues that only we know about, and quite frankly, we care about.
Yeah.
And how do we deal with it without money?
Mm.
You know what I mean? We rely on government, we rely on other things, other avenues, but it's so much power in the black dollar.
Big facts.
To support our own. So that was definitely a really good episode. Like even engaging with Mother's Day and Father's Day, the cookout, having that conversation about health and wellness. We talked about it a lot in that first season. So I know it's a lot of people like, where are y'all going in season 2? I mean, the sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit.
It's so much more
The
to talk about.
sky is the starting point.
You know what I mean?
Word.
Okay, that part. So, that's all we want to do is just keep this conversation going. I know some of the goals we discussed last year was, to be more present in the community.
Yes, Lord.
And how we do that is something that we're continuing to discuss. And we want to hear from you all. We've always wanted to engage with our brothers and sisters, our cousins who support us and who listen to us. What can we be doing, whether it's through conversation or through campaigns or through events, to create community and to continue and further the conversations that need to be had to see the change that we need to see in order to survive and thrive,
I love it.
I know, we have so many goals going forward. It's the new year. Everybody's got goals, right?
Yeah.
But tap in with us, man. Let us know how you feel, how we can help you in your community, you and your family. And meanwhile, me and Kane, we just gonna keep it rolling. More
Big
conversations.
Facts. Yeah.
More impact.
Believe that. Going back to the Mother's Day conversation, I'll say that's another one of my favorites.
Definitely.
Simply because I was also able to get my mother out of her comfort zone.
Yeah, she did so well.
And to be able to hear her on wax like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was so dope to me. That made my soul so happy.
Yeah.
And I've never really heard her explain like motherhood the way that she did on that episode.
So raw. It was so raw. You know what I mean?
So yeah.
I enjoyed that episode. And I think about it like this is something that we can always refer to, our parents can always refer to and know that it exists. It's out in the world. It's archived. But it just made me think about like how we can really be doing this at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like allow what we did with that episode, and even in the Father's Day episode, with my father, rest in peace to your father, but just even like still collecting stories on tape. Like we encourage you all to do the same.
Facts.
Right? So this is something that your kids or your kids' kids can listen to later and hear the stories that mama had. Hear the perspective that daddy had about a particular situation. Because we don't know how these things can really help us later
Yes,
on.
indeed. It's important.
A lot of what we understand and hear and learn now, it hit different later. Like even with movies, childhood movies that I may watch now. Like it hits different now because I'm different. I've changed, I've grown, I've lived. And so that advice, even if it's a cartoon character, it hits different.
What's one of those movies?
Oh snap! Put me on spot now. One of those movies. I can't lie. I was watching. What is the name of it? Okay. See, like the problem. Cause I done drew a blank. Okay, what is the name? Okay,
What's the character?
Biblical movie.
Is it dealing with Moses?
Yes, it is.
I forgot the name of
What
it
is
too.
it?
I know what you're talking
story,
about.
Though. And I ain't gonna lie, it just hit different.
Yeah.
Or even when I'm just watching like SpongeBob, you know what I mean? Like just, like
okay.
There are random scenes in SpongeBob. Like there was one conversation between SpongeBob and Patrick, and I hate that it skips my mind right now. But it was one that I just, okay.
Yeah.
I understood differently.
Interesting.
I'm trying to think of another childhood movie. You know what? We're going to keep going.
Let's keep going.
I
know, speaking of SpongeBob, it's always one that sticks out when he was like, use your imagination.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah.
I love that one because it always makes me harken back to times when I was a kid. My cousins and I would like pick up random sticks and build little tree houses and have stick fights acting like they swords and whatnot.
Yeah.
Just how the imagination run wild as a child. You know what I mean? And I know for me, a lot of 2021 was a lot of time being spent on me focusing on my inner child.
Yeah.
Feeding my inner child. Rewatching a lot of those childhood movies as well, like Lion King. Watching even a more modern day cartoon movie, Soul, and even the most recent one, Encanto. Encanto, the new Disney movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like watching, these films off of kids, but like you just said, it's certain stuff that just hit you different as you get older. Like us as adults watching these cartoon animations.
Right.
It'd be some life lessons in these
I'm glad
things.
you said Soul because I was thinking about Soul. It has so much to say about humanity. You know what I mean?
Yes, Lord.
And just how we check ourselves. So, I feel like I'm going off on a tangent now. But the point we're trying to make is, we did do some reflecting in the time that we've been off.
Yeah.
Like, what's new with you, Kane? Has anything you want to share?
I mean, I had dropped while we were taking a break.
Yeah.
I did drop Mental Shampoo.
Shout out to Mental Shampoo.
Yeah, we marketed it like an audio book rather than a podcast because I'd look to make that into an actual physical book.
As you should.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of saying episode 1, you're going to call it chapter 1. Shout out to Amanda because she saved me so much time in finding an app that can transcribe everything. Yeah, Amanda is the GOAT. All right. So shout out to Amanda and the Murals.
Yes.
Real life. So that's been a big portion of what I've been working on as of late. I've been reading a lot. One of the most recent books that I read was Healing Your Aloneness, right? That book dealt with a lot of the inner child. And that's what I've been studying, like read more about trauma, read more about community, reading more about the inner child. That's been my focus. My most current read is Bell Hooks' All About Love. And I got that book like 2 weeks before she passed away.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, like I just got this book 2 weeks ago and she passed away.
Yep.
So it's like, I know she raved a lot about James Baldwin. She enjoyed talking about James Baldwin. I think I'm a rave about her the way that her and others raved about James Baldwin because the way that she writes, it just flows like water.
Yeah,
like,
she slept on.
Oh my God.
Please, talk about her.
So it's like I've learned about her years ago, like in 2015, but this is my first book that I've gotten by her. And I've been enjoying that read thus far.
That's good.
And then just staying on my health kick, staying in the gym, staying on my bike. My bike, I call it therapy on wheels.
Okay, therapy on wheels.
You know what I mean? Because that also brings out the inner child in me where ride my bike in the bayou, ride my bike in the park when I was young. It takes me back to those places. And it allows me, when I'm riding on these trails in Ridgeland and Madison and Jackson and wherever I be, it just takes me back to a peaceful place for real, a place of equanimity,
Yeah.
peace within chaos, no matter
Yeah.
what may be going on,
It's so important to have
big
those
facts.
spaces,
Big
right?
facts.
To identify those spaces.
What's been happening with you? Talk to the people.
Well, so I feel like the last time we sat here and recorded, I was transitioning between careers.
Yeah.
And this is something that I hope for all my people is that we can normalize changing normalize changing career direction.
Reset.
When it no longer serves you. Now, I love what I did. I love, being creative, being a journalist, hustling and bustling, getting the news, disseminating that information to my community in ways that I felt would resonate with them, but also urge them to do something, But at the same time, I had to prioritize my mental health. In the environment I was working in, under the deadlines I was working with, it got to be too much.
Yeah.
And so I had been, and it's crazy because in the same journal I have here, I just flipped it open to the very first page and I saw September 4th, 2020. When I wrote, and I'm not going to read it, but the first sentence is I'm at this point in my life or in my career where I'm searching for something new.
Oh my God.
A year later.
That's fine.
To that date.
You manifested.
I walked into a new career. You know
I
what I'm
mean, I
saying? The
remember when you
very
first
career I
talked
was
about
talking
that.
about. Yes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So we gotta normalize changing career paths, regardless of what you went to school for, how much money you spend in school for it.
Ooh.
Regardless of, whether
That's
you
that
feel like
spice
you're
talk.
ready or not. Man, you gotta walk into it when whatever it is you're doing ain't no longer serving you.
Yes,
That's why
Lord.
when I heard what you said earlier today,
Okay.
I said, yeah, Kay.
Yeah.
I support that. So since our last season, I've become a full-time college professor. I'm doing research now. I've got money for a new project that should be coming out this
Love
summer.
Yeah.
I'm locked up. We're gonna talk more about it later. But like living in this thing.
Yeah.
So different changes, but mainly, I celebrate that career change.
I love it.
'Cause I think we need to normalize that.
We definitely need to normalize that
Stop
more.
staying where you don't want to be.
Reset and reinvent yourself. Big facts.
That
Because
part.
the more you reinvent yourself, the better person that you become in the process of your journey, for real. Because staying in a place, like you said, you know what I'm saying, just because you went to school for a certain thing, because you spent X amount of dollars on this
Right.
education and pulled out a loan, you're going to make the decision to be complacent because that's what you decided at 18, 19 years old in
Or what
undergrad.
somebody else wants you to do.
Or what somebody
Mama,
else.
daddy, you know what I mean?
Okay. That's an episode.
Okay. Let me jot that down.
Write that down.
Listen, if it ain't growing, it's
Yo.
dead. So let's keep moving. You know what I'm
Spicy.
saying? Let's keep moving. But hey, I'm happy to be here, man. One thing that ain't changed since we last spoke
What's that?
is the love for family.
Believe that.
It's been a lot of challenging times. I ain't gonna lie, man. This last quarter of the year, I've been so sick. I don't know why, but Thanksgiving, I was out, down, sick. Thought I had COVID. Didn't have COVID, but I just had a really bad case of, I don't know, just all kind of stuff going on, according to my doctors. And then, Christmas, I actually contract COVID, did everything I could not to protect myself, but it was something that I couldn't run from. I feel like if it was gonna get me, it was gonna get me, and it did. You know what I mean? But so I spent Christmas away from family. So since we've been here, and I'm talking about family, we've had some challenges in terms of the time that we would normally and naturally spend together, but we were creative, So whether that was opening presents over FaceTime or, mama dropping off a hamper full of food, you know what I mean?
Not a hamper.
A hamper in my dog,
Okay.
a hamper full of food, just to make sure her baby got all her favorites.
That's
You know,
fine.
finding ways to feel the love. You know what I mean? And so, we just encouraging people who are out here who have been affected and impacted by this ongoing pandemic. We know so many people have lost people, you know what I mean, and continue to grieve throughout this season. Our thoughts are with you, you know what I mean? Do whatever you need to do to stay safe and protect yourself.
Big facts.
Hopefully we'll get out of this, or at least get to a point where we can manage it. But we don't, we don't dismiss the fact that so many people are continuing to be impacted by it.
Yeah.
But all is well, and we here, so we're gonna keep things rocking.
Keep things rocking and rolling and rolling and rocking. Hey, man, we just wanted to welcome those who are new and welcome back those who have been with us since season 1 of the Family Tree Podcast with Ashley FG and myself. And look, season 2, season 2.
Let's do it.
We are here. And we look forward to sharing. We have so many great topics to discuss. And again, like Ashley mentioned earlier, we want to tap in with the community. So give us your suggestions. Give us your ideas as well. Give us some topics to discuss. And we can't wait to talk about it. Maybe even have one of you on.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? So until next time, it's Kimar coming to you all the way live. Your favorite country cousin, your favorite Mississippian, and your best friend. And
it's your girl, Ashley, Ash Cake, Ashley FG. It ain't me without the FG.
Believe that.
Please follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, The Family Tree Podcast. Like Kane said, we are engaging with you every day. We want to hear from you. We want to love on you. We want to support you. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Season 2.
Peace.
Bye, y'all.